All right, so what do I got to do today? Got to get the cutting boards done for Bob, CNC table set up for Monday, and something else. That's what it was. Hi everybody, welcome to Wolf Woodworking Creations. I'm Steve, and this is my shop. Today I'm going to show you a little around the shop. I'm going to show you some tools, some battery platforms, some hand tools, and some of the things that I've done that kind of help me out in the shop and hopefully make it a little bit safer. So stick around and hope you enjoyed the video. And if you've watched any of my old videos, you'll notice that there's a little bit less of me, and that's because I've lost 85 pounds. First stop of the tour, the miter saw station. This is my Delta Cruiser, 10-inch. It does have the zero clearance walnut insert because we all need a little bit of pizzazz. One thing that I do not like about it is it has these patterns in it that just collect sawdust everywhere. So I put some blue painter's tape over it, and that seems to help it out when cleaning up. These cabinets were actually in the house when I moved in, and they were on that side of the wall. I didn't want them there. I wanted the nice window that I have. The door makes things easier to come in and out of the shops. This is the sponsor door for all my, I don't have any sponsors. Whatever. We've gone from the west wall to the south wall, and this is the door where everything comes in. Both open up, so I have plenty of room. When you open it up, it does create a nice breeze coming through in the spring. Also have the hose storage and scrap wood. Continuing to the south wall, we have the box fan with filter. My DeWalt 735 planer with straight knives. I have not upgraded it to the helical head yet, but I think that's what everybody else is doing, so one of these days I will do the same. I have the outfeed and infeed stands that I have. Dust collection dedicated over to the corner. Next stop on the tour, the Performax 1632 Plus drum sander that I got off of Facebook Marketplace for about 800 bucks, so that was a good deal. I think they retail for $1,800. So the only thing I had to get for it was the transport belt on it. Came with the stand. When I first got the drum sander, I was going through belt within 5 minutes. I mean, they would just shred. And then I found out that these little gaps right here at the beginning and end are very important. And if you would read the instructions, those are there for expansion and contraction. So when the drum heats up, it expands and becomes tighter. If you have all the paper really tight all the way around it, that paper is just gonna, it can't stretch. So it blows apart at either end, and that's what was happening, and I was getting so frustrated. Next on the tour, the rigid spindle sander and belt sander combination. Dust collection on it needs improvement, but if you're using the spindle sander part, it's pretty good, but once you have the belt sander, it just covers everything. Next stop is my Porter Cable 6-inch jointer. I got this off of Facebook Marketplace also, and it's at the top of a Jay Bates inspired air filter. So he uses a squirrel cage from an old AC unit. I didn't have one of those or couldn't find one, so I used a floor dryer from one of the big box stores. It does the same thing. Next up, the Boss Ditch Pancake air compressor, 5-gallon. I have like 50 feet of hose. Guns, I usually use it for my pin nailer and blowing the dust off of myself or anything of the flat surfaces in here. Really loud, so I want to make an enclosure for that. Dust collection, the bane of every woodworker's existence, including Bob Claggett from Fix This Build That. Hates dust. So I have a chip separator that comes from the jointer and the planer. That's the only thing that goes into this, but the bag still gets full of smaller dust because it's not a cyclone dust separator. There's a wind filter extender on the top of it. And also I'm going to do a James Hamilton Stumpy Nub update for the bag, so I never have to take this bag off again. What I did for this one for the time being, I just put some weather stripping insulation around it and then tightened the clamp around that. That actually helps keep a lot of the dust from shooting out. So we're done with the south wall. It's type 4. You can tell it's that old because it's blue. No longer the neon green like you see it dad it yourself. But if you don't need one of the drill guides that you can get from Rockler, or they work just as well. I would probably not purchase this again. Next up on the toolbox, my Ryobi BG612G. These little things, this little tool rest piece of crap fell off. The bolt fell in there. Now I have a big gouge in the wheel. I need to get one of those evener out thingies that you... Behind it is the 1x30 belt sander with a 5-inch disc sander from Wen. Would not recommend getting one of these. Not worth the money that I paid for it. So next up, I was trying out some shop greatness inspired by Travis, and I got some Kaizen foam, and I cut out for all my screwdrivers, some of my files, tools. They're all pretty. The Kaizen foam is really nice. It's kind of easy to work with. I think you can actually cut it with a laser. Then you can actually just trace out the tools, and it just makes it a lot easier because it's a pain in the butt to use a little knife to cut everything out. These drawers, all my wire cutters and pliers and things like that. Some of the drawers don't have the Kaizen foam in it. These are all my electronic things, heat gun or a temperature probe, stud finder, chisels, other things like that. But the shop greatness goes all the way down to this drawer. So next up is my Craftsman toolbox. As you can see, the tape is the top drawer. I have double-sided tape, I have the blue tape, actual duct tape, just some miscellaneous tools in here. All my supplies for epoxy, marking tools, and just some other miscellaneous tools down there. Continue on the west wall. Some scrap wood storage. Found this on the side of the road. It's a metal filing cabinet, but I use it for my paints, spray paints, epoxies, and things like that. So it's kind of like a hazmat locker that I didn't have to pay for. Well, we've hit the north wall of the shop, and as you can see, it's my clamp wall. Got my pipe clamps, some Harbor Freight, some C-clamps, some spring clamps, some quick grip clamps, and some bore clamps, and some other sort of things. But you know what they all say about clamps? Don't say it. What? Do not say it. Don't understand. They will not understand. They will understand. I know these people. They will not understand. They'll understand. They will not. I can't stand here. I can't watch this. This is too horrible. You know, I really think that you can have too many clamps. What the son of a I told you they wouldn't understand. Back to the west wall, and this is a closet, of course, underneath the stairs that go up to the main level. Inside, you ask? Just some shop t-shirt storage, and I also have some plywood that's smaller that I can't fit anywhere else. It just keeps it out of the way. This is where I keep my power tools, or drill drivers, my palm router, glue storage, the sanding paper, table saw sleds, and things like that. Bore a straight edge. Right, next up is my Delta 3650 52 T2 10-inch table saw that I got from one of the box stores. Very quiet compared to the last one. And I have a Diablo blade in it. And that thing, I haven't sharpened it yet. I've cleaned it once just because, but I think that if you're using hardwood mostly, yeah, I don't think you need to clean it as often as you do if you're using a sappy wood like pine. Square, never had a problem with the fence. I do like the bump switch. It's you just hit it with your thigh or your knee and it shuts off. Moving to this side of the table saw, I have my shop apron, hearing protection, eye protection, breathing protection. It's just all in easy reach. I just come in and grab it, put it on, and I'm good to go. Behind this is the Ryobi power station for all my batteries, and the newest addition, I got the DeWalt drill and driver sets. This is one of my favorite things that I built for the table saw in my shop. It's just a piece of sheet metal screwed onto a piece of plywood, but everything has magnets on it. It's an easy reach. Most people will have some kind of box or they're hanging underneath the table saw. Sometimes you got to reach and it just takes your focus off the table saw. This, I just reach up and go to work. Moving to the extension wing, I have a Jessam router lift in here. Just a piece of MDF for the tabletop. I'm going to make a cabinet eventually. Once again, I have the metal and magnetized tools. So they're right here when I need them. Just easy grab, easy place to store everything. I made this router fence probably when I had the table, or when I bought my first table saw and the drill press. And I've still had this, and it still works. But what I think I'm going to do is put like bit storage in here. That way it's just easier. I don't have to go to the cabinet, or I don't have to have a cabinet down here. Then I also plumbed in vacuum from dust collection. So this hose is long enough to actually go to a over the blade dust collection to go into the dust collection here, or it can go over to the workbench where, you know, I use the palm sand or anything like that. So it's just kind of convenient to have here. And then the hose is hanging up that you saw earlier. Right next to the table saw, I have my Dust Deputy from Oneida and their blue barrel thing that goes with it. It works, does what it's supposed to do. And behind it, I have everything on a switch with a remote control. To do is and I keep this on my apron, and I just turns everything on, and I also have it for my big dust collector also. So you can see I have some tracks for my track saw, a level, yardstick, some pull saws, my electrician's bag, and in here that houses the dust collector.